Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Patriots Real Time Podcast. I'm your host, Theo Diaz, joined alongside Austin Ray. Today, we are doing another off-season podcast. Not much has happened since the last time we recorded. Obviously, we may have talked about the Mike Vrabel press conference. Probably not, though. I think I did a solo one about that. But obviously, the Mike Vrabel press conference happened. The Patriots interviewed two candidates for offensive coordinators. We'll talk about them later. They also fired four coaches. We'll also get to that later. Talk about a few other things, but yeah, it should be a relatively short podcast. But before we get into all that, Austin, how are you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good, Theo. I got some questions for you I'm going to ask you in this podcast, so yeah.
I wonder what those could be. Yeah, sure. Question. We'll figure it out. What were I don't know if you watched the Vrabel press conference. I did. I talked about it. I gave it my thoughts. What were your thoughts on the Vrabel press conference while I pull up the offensive coordinator step? What the fuck am I saying? The
Um,
offensive coordinator thing.
I liked it. I mean, I didn't really read too much into it. I was sort of like listening to it while I was doing some math, but I didn't really read much into it. I liked it. It made me feel good about him. I feel like he handled the media better than we've seen with Gerard Mayo.
Yeah, for
So
sure.
yeah, I feel good about it. I like
Yeah,
it.
me too. I said I liked it too. It was a good press conference. They talked about football. Like you said with the last guy here, he would typically not talk about football. He wasn't, I don't want to insult him, but, he wasn't the most equipped for the job. He didn't really say many useful things. I think Vrabel said some useful things, probably more than the last guy said in the entire time that he was here. Yeah, so, it's definitely a difference, like I've been saying. Vrabel's definitely more tied up, right? When the last guy was here, it was looser. It was, things were out of order. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, Vrabel, he runs a hard ship, but he'll still be your friend. Um, Obviously, the video's been going around with him and Ben Jones, where he goes up to him. He's like, "Wow, dude, I can't believe like that you played like this." Um, you know, because he was hurt, he played through it. He like went up to him, he like hugged him, and they were like crying or whatever. Um, yeah, two guys that have like enormous support for each other. Yeah, there's a lot of videos with him going around, but yeah, no, I think the Vrabel hire is very good, and I think the introductory press conference was also very good.
Yeah. So I just realized that my camera quality is so bad right now.
No,
Wow.
I can see you perfectly.
All right, here. Let me
Huh?
just ask you one of the questions right now.
Oh, question.
Theo, so we've had some big names on our show like Alex Barth, John Cadlick. We got a bunch of guys on the show.
John Cadlick, Mike
Okay.
Cadlick.
Shut up. All right, Theo. Who would you?
Yes, Austin.
What guest would you want on the show the most? Who would you want to be on the show the most?
You know, if I had to have my dream guest on the show, right? You want to spice things up, right? You want to go with an ex-player from Mike Vrabel. I'm going with a guy like Ben Jones. That's my dream guest to have on this podcast. You want to go with a guy like Taylor Lewan to even spice things up even more, right? Those are my two guys, especially for the time right now that I want on this podcast, right? Shout out Jojo Siwa. But, those are the guys that I'd really want on the show. Austin's laughing for some reason. Um, no, but those guys, right?
Theo,
They'll talk
Theo,
about Vrabel.
Theo,
They'll,
do you have an issue with karma?
um, like Ellie, but right, yeah. Anyways, keep going.
Yeah. I agree. I want all those guys on the podcast as well. That's a good shout there, Theo. Good shout out. Love it. Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe we can get to a few other questions that you have later in the show, Austin.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Let's talk about the guys that unfortunately lost their jobs yesterday. Running backs coach Taylor Embry, wide receivers coach Tyler Hughes, assistant wide receivers coach Taekwon Underwood, former player, and tight ends coach Bob Bicknickel. Any thoughts on that?
I haven't really actually know any of those, but
Yeah,
I don't understand like Bob McNichol, tight ends coach. I feel like the tight ends are pretty good this year.
yeah.
I mean,
But those are two experienced guys, and
yeah,
Jaheim Bell didn't really develop very well.
yeah,
Maybe Vrabel has a better guy in mind or something.
yeah. I understand they're also trying to like clean ship, sort of
Yeah.
start fresh, and
hmm
yeah, no, I get you. I get it. Yeah.
Yeah, if I just want to be like clear here and say that the only people that have been fired on the coaching staff are those four guys. Alex Van Pelt still remains a member of the team. DeMarcus Covington, also Gerard Mayo, obviously is fine. DeMarcus Covington, Jeremy Springer, not Dan Quinn, but the other Quinn, the other special teams guy, Slater, Hightower, they're all still part of the staff. Those four guys, along with Gerard Mayo and Robin Glazier, are now gone from the staff. If you don't know who Robin Glazier is, she is, let's see, the vice president of football business. She's pretty high up in the team. If you don't remember from the Dynasty, actually, she was the one. Do you remember? Did you watch the Dynasty
No,
documentary?
actually, I don't have Apple TV.
Oh yeah, you got to get the Apple TV. But in the Dynasty documentary, when they were talking about Spygate, Spygate, if you don't know, is when the Patriots allegedly, like it didn't happen, obviously.
Yeah, yeah.
Were what were they doing? They were like spying on the Jets calls or whatever, kind of similar to what
Practice. I
Michigan
think
did.
their practices, their
Yeah,
run
something like
throughs.
that. Yeah. And Robin Glazier walks down the hallway with a hammer to destroy the evidence or something like that in the Dynasty, and Gillette Nation used that photo in the picture. But anyways, Robin Glacier, shout out Robin Glacier. But yeah, so Taekwon Underwood, if you don't know who Taekwon Underwood is, he was on the 2011 Patriots team. He got a special like haircut with the Patriots logo in it before the Super Bowl, but he got cut right before then, so he never. Where it was like he got the haircut the same day that he got cut, and he never played in the Super Bowl. So Taekwon Underwood, but he came back on Mayo's staff and got fired, but with Vrabel.
I think that's awesome right there. I did not
Yeah,
know that.
no. All right, let's go with the first guy that they interviewed. No, let's go with the second guy that they interviewed because he's a little bit less known. That being Marcus Brady, offensive coordinator. Well, they interviewed him for the offensive coordinator. Right now, he is the passing game coordinator under Jim Harbaugh in Los Angeles. He was the offensive coordinator for the Indianapolis Colts in 2021 to 2022. A guy that's experienced. I don't really know the full resume, but yeah, kind of all right interview. He's probably not going to get the job, but you never know. And then the other guy they interviewed is actually a head coach. He was a head coach. Thomas Brown, the interim head coach for the Bears this year. They interviewed him last year also for the offensive coordinator. Obviously, he didn't get it. If you don't remember, I think he was like the wide receivers or tight ends coach to start the year. He moved up to the offensive coordinator and then the head coach. So, he has some head coaching experience. I don't know if he gets the job or not, but he's definitely a qualified candidate. So, any thoughts on those two guys?
I'd probably feel better going with the Los Angeles, the Chargers
Mm-hmm.
coordinator because he's passing coordinator,
Mm-hmm.
whatever. Because I feel like under Jim Harbaugh, I feel like he's got like just under Jim Harbaugh for 1 year. I feel like he's got experience from that. Like you said, head coach of the Colts. I like that better.
Offensive coordinator of the Colts.
Offensive coordinator for the Colts. I like that
Mm-hmm.
better than interim head coach for the Bears.
Yeah,
I
interim
feel like
offensive coordinator too
yeah,
in the
exactly.
same year.
I think that I just think he's more qualified, and I'd feel better with him as our coordinator.
Hmm. Yeah, I don't know. Both these guys, I doubt they get hired. But the Patriots will probably do an extensive search. With these two interviews, they've already satisfied the Rooney Rule. So I think I think in the Rooney Rule you have to, for offensive coordinator, it's only one minority candidate. For the coordinators, for the head coach, it's two. And both these guys are minority candidates, so they've already satisfied the Rooney Rule. So we'll see who else they bring in. Yeah, let's talk about the Rooney Rule. If you don't, do you know what the Rooney Rule is, Austin?
No idea.
So the Rooney Rule is for head coaching, you have to bring in, like I just said, two minority candidates. Those being like either woman or African American. So yeah, you have to bring in those. But the Patriots kind of make a mockery out of it. They interviewed Pep Hamilton and Byron Leftwich, which is kind of stupid if you ask me, because it's disrespecting the rule. A lot of people were mad about that. So what are your thoughts on that? Them kind of and they even put them on the same graphic for the interviews. It wasn't exactly the best move by Robert Kraft.
Yeah, I just don't. It's just not a good look for the Patriots, especially. I feel like we've been hit with a lot of sort of criticism past couple of years. I feel like that you gotta like actually try to dig out of the hole that we've dug ourselves into.
Yeah, obviously they do hire a minority coach last year in Gerard Mayo, but he leaves or fired after just 1 year. But yeah, no. So we'll see. Mike Vrabel, the new head coach, obviously, of the Patriots. So, Austin, see, do you have another question for me?
Um, Theo, so you run the Patriots account, right? I'm just wondering how
Yes.
you managed to run that account, do school and the podcast. How are you able to and sports? Do you balance it?
Okay, that's a good question. I don't know. That's a good question. Okay, so, yeah, um, you know, I balance it, I guess.
Yeah.
So let's see. So I go to school obviously 6 hours a day, if something, or seven or whatever the hell it is. Um, if something comes up during the day, then I'll post about it, but I don't make posts during school unless I have like a free period or something. When I come home, I'll have the ideas maybe ready. If not, then we'll figure it out. Maybe something happens that day. Practices, you obviously don't post during them. And then we don't do a podcast that much. We do it like once a week or so. So I can balance it then. But yeah, it's really not that hard to balance it because I've been doing it for 3 years now. Um, so yeah, if that answers your question.
Yeah.
Mm, okay. Thanks for the question, Austin.
No problem. No problem.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. Let's see what else we got. Keep talking about the Patriots here. Um, I don't know. What's else going on? Who else do you want the Patriots to hire, or who do you want them to bring in as the offensive coordinator, Austin?
I want them to bring in Drake May as starting quarterback and Joe
Mm,
Milton as quarterback two, and do not bring in Jacoby Brissett.
hmm Yeah. Here, let's want to do something real quick. A
Sure.
little activity here that off the rip.
Yeah. Why not?
So I saw Mike Cadlick and Taylor Kyles do this. I didn't actually watch their podcast, but I
Yeah,
saw it.
I think you mean John Cadlick, right?
Don Cadlick. Um, but so they did. Who was here for the 2025 Patriots? Way too early. Who's going to be here? I think we could run through the roster, say definitively who's going to be here, who's not going to be here, and just go through it. So let's start off. Oh, let's organize by. Let's go on ESPN. Hold on. Austin, talk for a minute.
Um. Yeah.
Baseball.
So
Okay,
baseball,
all right, I'm
football,
here. I'm here.
soccer. Okay.
Okay, starting off. Is he going to be here? Number 7, Jacoby Brissett next year.
No.
Why not?
Well, I think the Patriots. I think he served his purpose. I think the Patriots wanted him as a sort of that experienced guy to like so Drake May can learn under him. I mean, Joe Milton even too can learn under him. But I feel unless we trade Joe Milton, I don't think he's going to be here. He's a free agent right now, so
Yeah, I'd say maybe he might be back. You obviously saw what Joe Milton could do. Jacoby Brissett, a guy that's familiar with the Josh McDaniels system. So if they bring in Josh McDaniels, then then he might be back. If he doesn't get any other offers, let's go to the next guy. Drake May, 100% going to be here.
no, he's not. No, I'm kidding. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, 100%. Joe Milton, a guy that we said they could trade.
hmm
I don't know. What are your thoughts on that? Do you want to trade him? Do you want to keep him as a backup? What do you want?
Um, I personally would like to. I would want to keep him as a backup unless there's someone unless someone really highballs it. I say we keep him as a backup.
What would you say is like a high ball in this sense?
Fourth round pick.
Fourth? Ooh, I wouldn't trade him for a third. I'd say a second is
Really,
a high ball.
really.
I mean, you saw that. Yeah,
That
I don't think you're getting a. I think people they're offering fourth, third, and fourths like consistently.
that's a good point. You're right. You're right.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You're being modest. Okay. Anyways, Antonio Gibson. Do you think he'll be back next year?
I think he will be back for one more year. Yeah.
What's his contract? 2 or 3 years? I think it's two, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Maybe. Yeah. So yeah, Jermichael Hasty, a guy that's I think he's a free agent. What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, I've I'm pin him as a maybe. I feel like he
Yeah.
could make like a third
It's,
string running
yeah.
back somewhere, but I don't know. I mean, it
Yeah.
could
Yeah.
go
He
either
showed
way.
some flashes. He had the touchdown in London, but like.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know. I'd probably say no because hopefully they draft a guy. Yeah,
Yeah.
Terrell Jennings. We can like skip over him. He's we got his autograph, but yeah, I like him, but like hopefully they draft a guy. Ramondre, do you think he'll be back next year?
I think he'll be back. Yeah.
Um, oh yeah, you kind of glitched out there, but no, I don't know. I don't know. I think Gibson's safer because Vrabel. I don't think he tolerates fumbles like that. So yeah,
Yeah, but I feel like that last season was sort of like a standout season. Like I don't think he's that guy that fumbles a lot. I think he just happened a couple times early in the season. I think it just stuck with him. I think they can get it out of him easily.
Hopefully. You just extended him, so hopefully you can get that out of him. Let's move to receiver, and honestly, we we'll just end at receiver honestly because why not? But because that's where it really gets interesting. Number 6, Javon Baker. Do you think he's back next year?
Um, I I don't think I don't think so.
Yeah. All right. Why?
I'm hoping they draft someone.
Maybe sign T. Higgins, but you don't know that because the soft tissue issues. Vrabel soft tissue issue. Vrabel does not like soft tissue injuries. I don't think anyone does, but he especially doesn't. But yeah, no, I think it's very reasonable. He talked a few times about removing entitlement from the team. That's a guy that was entitled. Talks about how he's going to make people in wheelchairs stand up and has one catch for whatever, 12, 22 yards, whatever it was. Let's move on. Kendrick Bourne.
This one I feel like could go either way again. I think it just depends how his offseason goes. I feel like coming back from the ACL, I think he did a couple things, but I don't think he was that like
Yeah,
wow as
like
we
he's
sort of
easily
expected.
replaceable.
Yeah,
Like
100%.
I think I'd rather have Darius Slayton for sure than him,
Yeah,
and I think you can cut him if you get Darius Slayton.
yeah,
But yeah, he wasn't great this year. I think he had like 300 or 400 yards, so nothing tremendous. Then we got Kayshon Boutte, the Patriots' best receiver from last year.
I think he'll be
This,
here.
yes, I think, but Taylor Kyle's in that, and my cat, like we're saying, and I know I said I didn't listen to it, but I listened to it a little bit. They were saying that Boutte might not be back next year because he's entitled, and like they've said, they're removing entitlement. I think he's definitely going to be back next year,
Yeah,
because he is the best player. He's the most talented player on your team, I would say. Not obviously not the team, but in
wide
the
receiver.
receiver room.
Yeah,
Yeah, he's one of them. I don't know. Yeah. Demario Douglas, 100% yes.
yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like he's sort of our rock right now.
I don't think he's the wide receiver one. I think he's potential to be a wide receiver 3, but there's also guys in the slot that you can easily replace him with. Like obviously he's good, and obviously you want to keep him around. But I mean, if you can get a slot guy, like I don't know, someone in the draft in maybe the third round, because remember Demario Douglas was like a sixth, seventh round pick.
Yeah, he was late.
Um, I think he could be very easily demoted to not a starter.
Yeah,
Next up, nope, nope. Go say what you're saying.
I no, I agree. Yeah,
Yeah, and then we'll just go one more. And I don't see him on the list for some reason, but Jalen Polk. No. Okay, tell me what. I think yes. I think he'll be back next year. Second
yeah.
round pick.
I feel like this season. I think he was. I just don't think he was anything. I didn't see him in the season. He had some huge drops. I just don't think he's a good wide receiver.
Yeah, hopefully the Patriots can coach it out of him, but that'll pretty much do it for the Patriots Real Time podcast. Um, yeah, follow us Instagram Patriots3 Austin Ray. This what's it called? Patriots Real Time. Twitter, no, not Twitter. On Instagram, YouTube, and Spotify at Patriots Real Time, and TikTok's getting banned tomorrow, so don't follow us on there. So I guess we'll see.